And I ain't hit no drop in a minute. No, I'm about my business.
Rappers Got Podcast, episode 4. This is your host, Diggy Metro.
Bailz Pagliacci.
Almost had a little brain fart right there.
Yeah, it's cool.
So on this episode, one thing I want to warn you guys, or not even warn you guys, but just tell you guys, we do 2 episodes a week.
Yes.
We're not dirty individuals that just wear the same clothes.
Because if you're watching on YouTube judging, don't judge us.
Yeah,
We're clean. Trust me. This is the same time with the episode 3.
Yeah. All right. So on episode 4, what we wanted to talk about was charging for features as an unsigned nobody act.
Just stop it.
Guys, you're putting yourself at a real disadvantage and you're making yourself come off like a dickhead by charging someone for a feature when you bring zero value to their record or anything that they're doing. When I pay for something, I usually receive something in return.
Mm-hmm.
Your verse is not helpful to that person unless you have a following. So, and even then, you could have a following. If you're not going to promote the shit yourself, it's almost null and void. It doesn't even matter that you have a following. So charging someone for a feature, especially when you have no following, is a fucking bad idea. It just sets people off and kind of like rubs people the wrong way.
But Dig, how are artists going to make any money? They need to make money.
All right, check this out. You could do features for free. You could collaborate with as many artists as possible. And now your face is going to be attached to everything around you. There's going to be so many different artists with your song on their page that it's going to drive their fan base and their following over to your page because they're going to listen. Like, for instance, I did a track with this really dope artist out of California, San Diego, I think. His name is Adam Flowers, right? The day that he dropped that record, I went on my Spotify for artists and there were 13 people listening to my shit at once, right?
Mm.
Like on that little ticker that tells you there's 13 people listening at once. And this was more than have ever, like I get plays, but like 13 people at once, that was like, wow.
Yeah, you see them double-digit numbers, it start feeling different.
Right. And that was all due to the fact that I did a record with someone on the arm that was a good record and people saw my name. So in the past, I've reached out to artists to do a record. When they hit me with a price, I don't even want to talk to you again.
Yeah, I gotta get up out of there.
I've reached out to artists to come perform on showcases where I know that they don't have a following. And I'm putting together this showcase with a bunch of dope artists and everyone's bringing people. And that's an opportunity for you to actually show face and actually gain some followers or fans. And they've gone, well, what's the budget? Now you don't get anything. Now the budget's nothing. There's not even a fucking person budget. You're not going to get any new following. As a young artist, as a new artist rather, not young, as a new artist, you have to understand you are not valuable. I don't care if you think you're the next Biggie or Tupac. You are not valuable. What you bring to the table is the same thing that all these other guys bring to the table. If I don't get a feature from you, I'm going to hit someone else up and they're going to do the feature.
Somebody got that 16 for free.
And they're going to gain whatever following someone was going to gain from doing a record with me, right? I have never charged someone for a feature.
Me either.
In my life.
And I think I'm the best out there and I still will never charge anybody at this point in my career.
Yeah, I feel like I bring mad value to your record just off the bars.
Yeah.
But I don't bring enough value to be charging you.
Nah, not at this point.
My value is that I'm going to bring you a good record.
Mm-hmm. I've even had artists ask me, like, yo, how much does it charge for a verse? And I tell them, I took this quote from Dig, if the song makes sense, we can just do it. I won't charge you anything. But if it doesn't make any sense, I'm not going to charge you either. We're just not going to do the song.
Right.
That's it.
So I always tell people that, and that's also a good way to get out of a feature that you don't want to do.
It works.
You just tell them it doesn't make sense.
It works.
And sometimes you're being real. Like, I've also had artists hit me to collab on shit and their music's not up to par. And if the sound doesn't make sense, look, I can't work on a record with someone where their verse or their track is terrible and then I'm just on there fucking eating. There's no reason for that. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't help either side. Like
it doesn't.
One, if I'm on that record and I body you, you look like shit on your own record. And if you don't have good music to begin with, there's no benefit for me to even do the record. So you could tell someone, hey, we could do a record if it makes sense. And that's usually what I tell people. Like, for instance, if you send me a trap record, knowing that I don't make trap, chances are I don't want to do that record.
Yep.
Every once in a while, there's a song that makes sense with a trap structure. Usually for me, it's if there's like a sample in the background with trap drums, I'll hop on it. Outside of that, if it's just like a synth-based trap record and you're talking about drugs and this and that, it's not for me.
Yeah, you give me anything trap, I'm saying no.
You know, so if you send that to me, I'm going to tell you, like, this record itself doesn't make sense to me. Like, me and you on this record doesn't make sense. And of course you're going to hurt people's ego, but at least you're not hurting their pockets on some bullshit that is not going to gain them anything but anger, you know?
That's true. That's definitely true.
I think that people get it fucked up because they try to overvalue themselves in this game and they try to make it seem like, you know, I know my worth.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, sometimes you also have to know when your worth is nothing.
And the only thing you could bring to the table is your 16 or your chorus or your hook, whatever the case may be. It's, you know, that's all you have to bring. And if an artist is reaching out to you saying, hey, look, listen, I want you to jump on this song, I need a 16 from you, and then you try to charge, it's like, okay, I'll just go find somebody else that's going to do it for free. Because there's always somebody out there who's willing to make that working for free.
If doing a record with me guarantees you 10,000 fans, now we're talking.
Yeah, I'm going to charge you now.
Now I'm charging you. Because while you do this record, you're also getting something in return that's not just a dope record. You're getting back a following that could potentially feed you. So you're investing in that following and then you're receiving that back. If I'm not offering that to you, because, yo, although I did that record with that kid from Cali and there were people listening to my shit,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not sitting there acting like I got him any fans.
Yeah.
There might be a few people who trickled over who went on my Appears On page and
Mm-hmm.
listened to a record that I was on, then said, oh shit, Adam Flowers is dope. And I'm sure that happened,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't anything to the degree where he could have paid me and he would have gotten anything in return.
Yeah, unless you had that actual following
Right.
and that traction.
Right. So why it bothers me that artists do charge people is because we're all kind of in this together, whether you like to see it or not.
We are.
And that whole crabs in the barrel mentality is kind of what causes you to even think you have to charge people.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're like, well, I'm doper than you, so, you know, give me fucking $300. There's nothing beneficial to that. Because now you have that 300. The person who you worked on the record with fucking hates you. And they'll probably never do a song with you again.
Never.
They probably won't even put out that record.
If I'm paying $300, I'm going to put the song out.
Look, if you're paying $300 because you're such a fan of the person's music, yeah, you're probably going to put it out, right? But if you're so bothered by that person, it's going to cause a conflict when you do go to release it.
Yeah.
You're going to feel like, what the fuck did I do that for?
You're going to feel even worse when you realize I just paid $300 to still get 50 streams on this song.
Right.
That's when it really,
and
that's
yo,
when it really going to hurt you.
I've done it. What I was doing at one point was I was scouring the internet looking for people that I thought were 100% going to blow up. Some of these people have the verified check next to their name. Some of these people are just dope artists that I've heard in the past. And I'm reaching out and they're giving me their price. I was buying features, you know, and putting the records out. Nothing. It didn't gain me anything because, yo, the important part is not just you putting the record out. It's the person posting it.
Mm-hmm. That
Like,
promotion.
I had one artist, this guy, Jace from, I think the group is called 2-9. He's out of Atlanta. Very fucking dope.
Mm-hmm.
Hit him up. He gives me his price. I said, cool. Now, if I throw this to you, are you going to promote it on your Twitter or your Instagram or whatever? He's like, nah, I can't.
Oh, what do you mean you can't?
I was like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah. And the conversation.
Yeah, because, yo, a lot of these guys, again, they think that the value is in the music. The value is not in the music. The value is in, I'm doing this feature, I'm paying for this feature because I want a following to come with it.
So in a sense, we're not looking for actual physical money at this point. We're looking for what can transform into money later on down the road, which is exposure.
Right.
Exposure is everything.
And I like that you use that word. Stop telling people that you're going to pay them in exposure. That's not a thing. Exposure doesn't pay bills. Stop telling people, yo, like if you hit up a producer and you want a beat for them or from them and they give you a price and you tell them, yo, but I got mad fans. One, you wouldn't be asking for free shit if you had mad fans.
That's true.
Because you would have money and you would understand how the game works if you had fans. Two, that shit is always a turnoff. I'll pay an exposure, always a turnoff. Never works.
Especially when you're talking about paying an exposure, is trying to go like, hey, listen, I'm not going to pay you anything for this beat. And then on the beat, you're talking about, I got all this money.
Another thing, a bad response to someone trying to charge you for a feature is, well, I usually charge for features. Because that also happens in rap where you go, yeah, I charge $200 for a feature. And they go, well, I also charge $200 for a feature. So can we just do it? It's like, fam, no, you don't. Right?
Yeah.
But again, I'm not the guy charging for features. I think that it's brainless. I think that it creates more of a divide than it creates something good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I understand the value in, because I'm not mixing people's music for free. So how could I talk, right? But also, with that mix, they're getting something of value.
That's a service.
It's a service. I'm doing them a service. You're not doing a service by writing a 16. If you're a rapper, 16 should come to you like this. And if someone has to pay you to get a 16 out of you, that's a problem. You know, I understand producers charging.
Mm-hmm.
But even for producers, there's more of a shot of you getting bigger if you're throwing beats to people that you genuinely fuck with. Like, your free feature should go to people that you genuinely fuck with. It shouldn't just go to people that you're just like, oh, I'm just trying to like spread myself everywhere. Nah, it should go to the people that you actually like. When someone sends me a record and wants a feature on it, if the record is good, I'm on it. If the record is bad, I'm even vocal enough to be like, yo, this record doesn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not saying we can't do a record. Just figure out the record that works for both of us.
Find something that fits. Yeah, find something that fits the mold for both of us, where we both can be comfortable in that spot.
Because I've done features where I wasn't comfortable, and they sound like shit.
I've been there.
You know what I mean? I've done features where the person sent me a record, and I was like, fuck it, I want to work on this. And, you know, because I was trying to get a record with them. And the record always comes out sounding bad because it's not really your comfort zone. You can get out of your comfort zone, but usually it doesn't end up in good music happening.
Mm-hmm.
You want your both sounds to kind of clash and collide, and it makes this great content.
Yep.
Another problem that I have with charging people is, as an artist, I feel like there are specific things that you want to portray or kind of like give off as your image. And one of them is that you're a good person.
Mm-hmm.
And making it known around there that you're a good dude and you're reliable and I could throw you a track at any time.
And you'll get it right back to me.
And you're going to get it back to me. And there's not going to be an issue. And now we could put all these records out. That shit spreads amongst that artist crew. That shit spreads amongst the producers that they work with. If you're a person out there right now listening to this shit and you're dope, even if you didn't have a following, I'm going to do a record with you. I don't care if you get 5 plays on every record. If it's dope, I'll do a record with you.
Yes, sir.
Just because that's how much I fuck with the sound of music rather than just all the material shit. Like, I actually like making good music. If someone had a fucking great track out with 5 plays on it, and I felt like I could bring value to the record by at least getting it a couple more plays, and I said, yo, why don't we do like a remix to it or do it like, you know, I have no problem with that.
But a lot of people do.
I know.
A lot of artists do, which is weird.
Fam, I think that whole concept of like looking at someone's following when they ask you to do a record, I think that that's such a fucking like prima donna, like bitch way to go about music.
Yeah.
It's just so corny because it's like you're forgetting what you're doing it for.
Mm-hmm.
You're forgetting what the whole shit's about. Like, at the end of the day, if a bad record comes out, doesn't matter how much you promote it, you will get streams on it. But like, is that going to carry you to the next level? Is that the shit that you want to be remembered by?
No.
You know, so like for me, it's like, I'd rather put out good records with people who don't have a following than put out bad records with people who do.
Because the funny thing about that is the bad records, in a sense, they'll sizzle out eventually. But then those records that you did with somebody and you genuinely made like a great record with, those would be the ones that pop. Or, you know, later on down the road, 2 years down the road, somebody just randomly coming across a song like, oh, wow, this song is really fire. And then next thing you know, that song is popping somewhere else while the other song is sizzling out. Because, you know, I just want to pay for a feature. And, you know, I want to have this following. That following doesn't really mean anything. That following may be geared towards that person. Just because a person does a song with you doesn't mean that following is going to rush over to you like, oh my God, he did a song with this person.
Right.
It doesn't always work that way.
I remember Earl Sweatshirt on his first album had a song called Pre, and it was with this dude named S.K. LaFleur. And I've never heard of this dude. I fucking love that song. I love that song. The kid on it, he's not that great. But the way that the record sounds, I fuck with it heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that to say, sometimes you get someone who doesn't have the following, isn't that big, doesn't make the greatest music, but you make a great record.
Mm-hmm.
And that shit carries on. Like Earl put that out, 2016 or even, way before that. And I still to this day like that record.
And it's crazy. You remember the artist's name, even if you probably never heard nothing else from him.
Right.
You remember
I never
his
even
name.
listened to another record by him.
Oh, because I have no idea.
I've never
no
listened
idea
to
what
another record by him, but I know that he's on that record, and I know I like that record.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think that when you pick up artists around you and you do records with people like that, it just is a back to what I was saying before about looking like a good dude. And being a good dude. Not just looking like that. Being genuinely a good dude.
Yeah, because you could definitely act like you're a good person. But
that shit comes to the light.
Yeah, eventually.
And you know when it comes to the light? When you try charging people for fucking features. Like that's when it comes to the light. Especially when you have it, because it almost makes it look like you're fucking in a world of delusion.
Yep.
You know what I mean? People are looking at you like, this kid doesn't understand that he has no following.
And he wants me to pay him $200, $300 to do a verse. And he's not going to post it. I'm not going to get anything in return. You're not that far.
Right. And there's a person who's out there that's just like you. You know what I mean? That's going to make a record that's equally dope. And I don't have to pay them for anything.
And you also got to be careful, like with a lot of gimmicks when it does come to pricing. Speaking of just charging, all these places that are trying to come out now, like, oh, let's be on the Envy and the Funk Flex, come submit your song and do this to be able to get money from it. A lot of times they'll use that name to try to get you to spend your money, like, oh, I'm going to be able to get a verse on here or there. You got to be careful about that as well, because they'll try to get you to pay like $500 to get on some type of mixtape, exclusive mixtape, for you to pay. And it's like, you're technically paying to be a feature, and then that goes nowhere either. You got to be careful about those.
Oh, if I know what you're talking about. Yeah, guys, if I had a newer artist who probably has like 3 or 4 songs under his belt, and he received a DM from Fat Joe. Fat Joe, like actual Fat Joe's Instagram. He received the DM from him, and this kid was ecstatic. He hit me up, yo, Fat Joe just hit me up. This shit's crazy, blah, blah, blah. And I said, bro, that's a scam. And he goes, what do you mean? I'm like, all right, so let's explain this to the audience. There is, their name is like 365 Underground, some shit. They are going around and getting basically like the New York hood special.
The rappers, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Gather
like
them
all the
up.
street dudes from New York, like a Jadakiss, Dave East, fucking, I think Benny the Butcher did one. It's called the Block 365. That's what it's called. And they're getting all these artists rounded up. They're asking them for their Instagram accounts.
Mm-hmm.
They're going through, they're messaging all these kids that are rapping, and they're telling them, I can help you get your name out there. All you got to do is pay $800.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to get a placement on a Dave East mixtape.
Yeah.
That Dave East is hosting. And to a young artist, that's obviously intriguing.
Mm-hmm. It definitely is. I ain't gonna lie, Funk Flex got me. Like probably like 2 or 3 years ago when he was inboxing me on Facebook, he got me. They got me with it.
But that's not your fault though. And that's not a young artist's fault. That's no one's fault. Like, if anything, it's on, like, I look at Dave East weird.
I look at all of them weird now.
Right. I look
like,
at Fat
y'all
Joe
really
weird.
prying on
Like, yo,
artists. Y'all were one of them at one point.
And Fat Joe, like, you're fucking huge.
Why are you doing this?
Like, you're a big name. I understand, like, everyone needs money, but like, is that the way to do it? To like, you know, like shit on artists and like completely like take away from them?
I don't think so.
Especially when you know that they're not going to get a return. Like, that's the worst part, is like they know that these people aren't, because average plays on that. I remember DJ Booth again did a whole article on that. An average play on one of those records is 50 plays.
Yeah, so you just pay $800.
$800 to get 50
be
plays.
a feature. You pay $800 to be a feature just to get 50 plays when you could use
Also,
that $800 to market yourself and get thousands of plays.
Thousands. And you want to hear a secret? Those 50 plays, all the artists on the mixtape.
Oh yeah, they've definitely got somebody just probably just like listening to it.
No, it's just them.
Oh really?
If there's 20 records on that, right? And it's all different artists.
Ah, yeah, that's true.
When you get a record mixed, what do you do next?
For me, I should probably just listen to it
I listen to it like 100 times.
1,000 times.
I
You're
go
right.
in my
That's
car
true.
and I play it back and I play it back and I play it back and I play it back, right? If you're on a mixtape with other artists, you're gonna listen to what the other artists sound like on the
Yeah,
mixtape.
that's true actually. Yeah.
So now you're running this mixtape back and back and back, and if there's 25 artists or 20 artists on there, all that takes is two spins per person.
That's true. That's crazy.
The only people listening to that record are the fucking artists that are on it. So
Avoid
you're
at all
actually
costs.
paying $800 to have the rest of the people who paid $800 listen to the record. It's just not smart. You know what I mean? And like, it's a scam. And these are things that when we talked on one of the last episodes about how music is a predatory art form,
Mm-hmm.
this is what we're talking about. These are the things that we're talking about. Another scam, showcases in the city. Oh, fucking 3 celebrity judges. Angela Yee from fucking Power 105 is going to be there and she's going to judge your music.
They got me too.
$300. Yo, the reason why those celebrity judges are there is because, one, they're putting 25 artists on the bill. Those 25 artists are all paying $300. Of that $300, they're giving a cut to these celebrity judges to sit there. Those celebrity judges do not give a fuck about the music.
See, look, personally, I did one of those, like probably like 2 years ago in New York. I think it was like Chinks, rest in peace, Chinks, like his manager. I was like, yo, this is ecstatic. I got people in here from the labels and all that. I promise you, there had to be at least like 50 to 60 performers. And I'm like, yo, we all paid $300 to share this stage for roughly about 10 minutes. They just caked off us.
Oh, that's the funny part. Yo, you're only performing one song.
Yeah, I had
If you
2 songs.
Fam, if you think in 6 minutes you're gonna gain the following of a fucking radio DJ,
Mm-hmm.
you're out of your fucking mind. I've gone to people's shows where they went on stage and performed for fucking 3 minutes, and then they hop off the stage and I go, "What the fuck are you doing?" And they're like, "Oh, that's it.
And
That's it."
And I sat there an entire night watching all us 60 artists go through just to hear if we won or not. And it seemed like to me, you know, I was paying attention to the room. The people that were in the VIP section, the judges per se, they weren't really listening. They were there having a nice
They
time.
don't give a fuck.
They
They're
just
drinking.
there for the
They're
money,
drinking
yeah.
drinks that they're getting for free, and they're getting paid for it to sit there and listen to a bunch of young people who are down on their luck, trying to gain their understanding or gain their following, and they like. It's fucked up.
And essentially, full circle to go back to the original topic, you know, when artists that don't have anything and they're trying to charge these prices to other artists,
That's
you know,
what you're doing.
They're doing the same exact
Right.
thing.
That's what you're doing.
It's
You're
the same exact
going
thing.
because this is the thing. Like we said before about we're all in this together, right? We all are broke.
Facts.
If you're rich and you're rapping, I gotta think there's something wrong with you.
Because there's no money here.
There's no money here. You're
Nope.
just wasting money at that point. So I gotta think that there's something wrong with you if you're a rich rapper. I even get kind of like off put when I see like rich kids who I know that their parents have mad money
Mhm.
going toward rapping. Because it's like, dog, why?
The illusion.
But it's weird, bro. Like this is a whole culture built on struggle and poor people, pretty
Yeah.
much. And for you to like sit there and be trying to jump in there, it's like you just missed the whole point.
The illusion.
And other rappers aren't gonna fuck with you off that. You could be the dopest artist ever, but it's just like me and you are not the same people. Like we're not on the same type of time. Like
Nope.
I'm doing this because I need to do this. You're doing this because you want to do this. That's the difference. You know what I
There's
mean?
A big difference for needs and wants.
And that's not exclusive to any race. That's not a black thing. It's not a Spanish thing. It's not a white thing. If you're a poor white kid living in a trailer
Mm-hmm. Eminem.
and you're rapping, I fuck with that.
Eminem. I don't know if he was actually in a trailer though. I don't know if that's just the 8 Mile movie.
Who knows? But like, I fuck with that because you understand the struggle, and like your dream was the same as a poor black kid in a project
Just
building.
growing up trying to say, hey, I could use my struggles and use my words to get somewhere and make something.
Because there's not many opportunities given to people in those environments. So I fuck with that when people of a struggle culture come together and make something beautiful. When you're like a rich kid who has never had to fucking be involved with any of that shit, you've never experienced any of that shit, you've never been down, for you to get into this culture, it's a little strange.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And don't let the labels and the big celebrities fool you. They're not independent artists, but they're in the same struggles that we're in. They just have like a bigger audience they could tap into. Like sometimes those record deals that they do sign is literally just digging them to a bigger hole. And we seen during the pandemic, a lot of these artists were complaining like, yo, I'm not getting any money. You know, some independent artists were doing way better than a lot of label artists out there. And we don't want this to become that type of mentality within independent artists. We want to be able to work together. We don't want to start turning against each other and trying to say who makes the most profit or who makes the most money. At the end of the day, we're trying to beat the labels in that whole game. We're trying to break into that because at the end of the day, probably 10 years from now, that record label, they're going to get destroyed or something. Something's going to change.
Well, yeah, the streaming platforms are turning into the record labels. That's another topic for another day. But real briefly, people want to get paid more by the streaming platforms. When you do that, like I saw this whole post where someone was saying, yo, people should make $1 per stream. Okay, cool.
Shit.
If you made $1 per stream, right? Say that was the case, right? What these streaming platforms are going to do is they're going to start picking exclusive artists to be on their streaming platform.
Mm-hmm.
People that they actually want on there because they actually get views and get streams and bring revenue into the platform, right? If they had to pay out, guess what they become?
The label.
A label. That's what they become. If they had to pay $1 per, that's what they become. They become a label.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to sign people. And you are going to be back to square one where you have to figure it out. So like, I know you're getting less than a penny per stream, but that's how it has to work, unfortunately.
And it's so funny because Spotify's starting to like really try to mess around with that a little bit when he's like, yeah, and they do the opposite. We'll give you less money for your streams, but we'll promote you a little bit more. So we're going to pay you less, but there's that potential of having exposure. Okay.
And that's back to the point of you can't get paid in exposure.
You cannot.
So for the artists out there that are looking for more money from streaming platforms and are, like upset about that, you have to understand that's just the structure and how it has to work, because otherwise they're not even going to give you the opportunity. And then we're back to SoundCloud and Audio Mac and
back to square one.
Right. And then you're just, and there's beauty in those platforms when you're first coming up. But once you get to a point where you can make a little money off of it, to be like, I can't stand making pennies off this shit. It's just a little like, you're not really getting it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You're not really understanding how this whole thing works. Camera went off, I think.
Oh my God.
So guess what that means? That means that we are done with this episode.
Yes, indeed it does. But, last words definitely would say, don't be that artist that wants to make money right now. It's all about return on investment. It's going to happen eventually. You'd have to put the groundwork in now. You have to do things for free right now. Don't have people take advantage of you. I'm not saying that. But take the time to build yourself up. Take the time to actually build a network around you. So this way, as the year goes on, you've built yourself up as a brand, as an empire, if you want to look at it that as an independent artist. And now you have people that you can reach out to. Now you have bridges that haven't been burned, because it's like he didn't charge me for the verses back then. And now that I'm on like a little mid-level tier, I probably reach back out to this guy. You're probably still on the lower level. But now guess what? He remembers, yo, he didn't charge me anything back then. Let me put him on a song for free. When you're a good person, good things happen to you. The universe always gives you that good karma back. If you're one of those people that believe in it, it's probably because you haven't been applying it. When you start applying it, you'll start to see it happen right in front of your eyes.
Also, have fun with the process. Like this is supposed to be somewhat fun. And I will tell you from prior experience that the second that money gets involved, it becomes a lot less fun. Like, I approach music now from such a business standpoint, and everything has to make sense business-wise, that it's not as fun of a thing as it used to be when I was sitting in a basement with a bunch of my homies making records.
You lose it.
You lose that fun factor. So try to be young, enjoy the fun in doing music, and just fucking be a good person. And you're gonna see the benefits from that. That's my final say.
Yeah, stop trying to steal money from people because you think you hot or you hard. It's not gonna work out.
All right, guys. This is Rappers Guide Podcast. We're signing out. This is Diggy Metro.
Bailz Pagliacci.
Peace out, guys.